Hi there. Welcome to the new weekly Ozone radio show coming to you from sunny Bermuda. The show features items of general interest, including health, finances, lifestyle, with a dash of common sense and humor. Your hosts are Robin Trimmingham and Bill Story of the Olderhood Group. We hope you enjoy the show. So let's do this.
Welcome to the weekly Ozone radio show. I'm Robin.
Hi, and I'm Bill.
And today we're chatting about whether the technology of the moment has stolen your focus.
Yeah, I was referring to your article in this week's Bermuda National newspaper, the Royal Gazette. I can't remember exactly what the title was, but it was something like attention span. These days, has our attention span increased, decreased, or been completely destroyed? What was your sort of thinking behind the article?
Well, interestingly enough, it all started with a conversation that I had on Zoom with my 89-year-old father. And he was telling me about a book that's on the New York Times bestseller list that was released in January. It was written by a guy named Johann Hari. And the title of the book is Stolen Focus: Why Can't You Pay Attention and How to Think Deeply Again? And yeah, no, the title is quite a mouthful, I'd agree, but the premise is really quite interesting because what he is saying is that traditionally we have been holding our own selves and each other accountable for an inability to focus. When we tell each other off, why aren't you paying attention? Why aren't you focusing more? Why aren't you trying harder? And he's actually saying that technology is evolving in a path that actually steals your attention and gives you an attention deficit syndrome almost.
Yeah, I have to agree with that because I call it sort of rapid click life. I think I'm susceptible to that as well. These days when you're on the web and you've got 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs at the top open, or at least available to open. All you do is you go from click to click to click to click, and 1 minute you're looking at the mountains in Afghanistan, and the next second you're reading an article in a newspaper in the UK, and then all of a sudden you're watching some movie star or some singer or whatever on YouTube. Life just goes at 3 million miles a minute. It's rapid click. It is click, 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 click. Now I'm as guilty as the next one. So I guess does that mean then that my attention span isn't as good as it perhaps could be? Or perhaps a better question is, do you think my attention span is worse than it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago?
Well, there have been a lot of studies about this, and it's funny that you should bring this up. There was a study done in 2013 that concluded that in 2000, the average person's attention span was 12 seconds. But by 2013, that had diminished to 8 seconds. Now, here's where things start to get a little bit murky. Apparently, Microsoft in Canada was somehow connected to all of this. And the same study supposedly purports that a goldfish that was tested in the same manner had an attention span of 9 seconds. So I think this is a case of data being manipulated to say whatever somebody wanted to say. And there are questions regarding whether the part about the goldfish is actually true. You can take that however you will, but the fact that has been documented that human attention span is declining, that's absolutely a thing. What's interesting, though, is the why. Because when we are in an online environment, when we are in a world where we use technology, be that a cell phone or a tablet or a laptop or any other digital device that connects you to the internet, the advertisers have an interest in attracting and maintaining your attention for as long as possible. That's how they collect data about you. That's how they make revenue from you, either clicking and performing behaviors that are desirable to them or making an outright purchase. But they're all at war with each other to capture your attention. And as a consequence of all of that, their ways of luring you, of attracting you, have become really, really aggressive from a certain point of view. I don't know if this will shock people. I actually do have one online game that I like to play. No, it is not a war game. It's more of a strategy game. And in between the different levels, the different steps, one is actually obliged to watch commercials. But these commercials are really, really hard to shut down. At first, you have to watch for 30 seconds. Then they try and force you to go and download an app. And when you try and close the download for the app and say, no, I don't want that, it seems to loop you back to where you started instead of letting you move forward. And when you consider all of this being bombarded at people from multiple sites, from multiple directions, no wonder the poor person is left not knowing which way to turn, not knowing which way to go.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was reading something just over the past few days about YouTube, and it was an article, I think, or a blog post or something by this fella who he said he has a YouTube channel, and I think this is a few months ago, I can't remember, but that he had 100 views of this particular video that he had posted. And he'd gone back to check it 3, 4, 5, 6 days later, and the 100 views had magically turned into like 74. And he said, well, that's weird. How can people unview a video? Mm-hmm. Well, apparently what he found out was that there are sort of audits taking place within places like YouTube where they look at the view time, and that if a particular viewer looks at a particular video for less than whatever it is, X number of seconds, YouTube doesn't count that as a view. So therefore, if somebody went in and only viewed it for whatever it was, 4 or 5 seconds, and it had previously been registered, then it was taken back off again. Therefore, his 100 dropped to, whatever it was, 74 or 75. So, I mean, I guess that's a living example of attention span. But let me ask you, though, we're talking about technology. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, though, in terms of just the simple question of attention span, life today obviously has changed dramatically over this past 2 years. I'm wondering if in people's lives, there are so many things, I'm going to say, rattling around their head. Things like, work, family, finances, health, any number of things. And that there's just so much activity that, their attention span on anything in particular may be reduced. Do you think? I think that's probably got something to do with it.
Well, absolutely. Stress can be counterproductive. It can definitely diminish your ability to focus, forget about what might be going on with a digital environment. And there's also the valid point that to have really good ability to focus, it has to be practiced. And there's no doubt about this. If you think about how a baby comes into the world, a baby comes into the world with blurry vision and spends the first few weeks to months of life learning to focus on objects and people recognized faces and to grab onto things. That is a baby's number one to do. So it tells us that that is an ability that A, has to be learned, and B, can be developed. So I would say to people who feel like they're just not able to focus on anything and it's interfering with their ability to study, their ability to do good work, that instead of just continually surfing social media, that you try shutting all of that stuff down and actually putting yourself in a calm, quiet place and just trying to do one thing. By focusing on doing one thing, you'll discover how much of a problem you do or don't have. Because if you're trying to do one thing and all of a sudden you're getting feeling stressed, you're getting twitchy, you're wanting to check your phone, you're wanting to check your walk, you're wanting to leap out of your chair, yeah, you absolutely do have a problem. But once you push through that initial wall of resistance, you'll find it actually gets much easier just to calmly do one thing.
Yeah, I think you raise a good point there, because I think the working from home situation, frankly, I think it exacerbated all of that, because, when under the prior situation, the normal situation, if you prefer, you would get up in the morning, you would, get in the car or whatever it may be, get on the train, you would go to work. When you were at work, then you were focused on the work. You were thinking about the work. You weren't really thinking about other aspects of your life, unless, of course, there was some trauma or some emergency going on, obviously. You were really focused pretty much on one thing. The problem was then that when we started to work from home, and I have to say I would be guilty of this, is that, you could be on something like a Zoom meeting, etc., or you were just working away on your laptop, and then you realized, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to do the washing, or got clothes to fold, or the dog needs to be fed, or the dog needs to be taken out, or, there's so many things. So you would flit from one little thing to another little thing, even though when you were calmly saying to everybody, oh yes, I can work from home, yes, I'm fine, I'm adjusting correctly, I'm adjusting properly. You probably were. However, this sort of, as I call it, the rapid click life, it wasn't a click situation. It was just, oh, heavens, I forgot to do this. Oh, right. Okay. All right. Let me go and do that. Oh, I forgot to, so many things. So I think the lifestyle has got a lot to do with this attention span thing.
For as many cases as I'm sure you're right, that's exactly what happened. I know there are also situations where it worked in reverse, where people who had been in loud, noisy, frenetic, confusing environments where people were always rushing in and out, disrupting them, where the phone was constantly ringing, all of a sudden they were working at home in peace and quiet, and they were actually getting a lot more done. So that also kind of proves the point that if you remove the extraneous distractions, then you do have the ability to focus more calmly, to get more done.
Well, I wonder how many people have stayed all the way through this video, to test their attention span. But anyway, for the time being, thanks very much, Robin. Your article in the Gazette, I think, is very, very good. It's well laid out. So we'll encourage people to, have a look at the Royal Gazette. I think it's royalgazette.com, if I remember.
Yes.
And have a look at that. And then we'll be posting this video, the same day. So, all right, folks, that's it for the time being. Thanks, Robin.
Take care, everybody.